Is she really dead?
I think so.
So you did this?
I did nothing of the sort. What did I say? The cards know all, see all. Flannery was destined to die tonight, and the cards foresaw that. It is not my fault that I interpreted the message correctly.
How did that just happen, though? Was she poisoned earlier? Did it take this long to take effect? When Briar drank the poison, she died immediately.
Yeah, she did, didn't she? So that's the question then. Who would have had the ability to facilitate all of this, to poison Flannery, to kill the rest of them?
No one would have been able to do all of that.
That's exactly it. No one would have been able to. But like I said, the five of us, excluding Artemis, Regina, and Valerie, we couldn't have. Let's review. Briar first. Who had the opportunity? Any one of us could have run into the kitchen after the lights went out and poisoned her mug. I'm working on the assumption that I didn't do it. You guys don't have to believe me, but for the sake of argument right now, let's assume that that's a given. So, even if we'd never found the prompt book in the attic, it was easy enough to assume that Aubrey didn't do it. By then it had been made pretty clear that Briar's part, even though it seemed like a lead, was a small one. Aubrey, you might be a ditz sometimes, but you're not stupid. You wouldn't kill someone based off a knee-jerk reaction like that. This murder, all these murders, were planned, and none of us knew the cast list until we got here tonight, so that eliminates Aubrey. And as for Evelyn, who was one of the ones who went to the kitchen in the first place and could have poisoned her cider, she said it herself. Briar was her friend. She wouldn't kill one of her only allies in this company. Everyone else, besides Cynthia and Winston, who don't have much in terms of motive, are dead. Except, of course, you three. Valerie, Regina, and Artemis.
I literally didn't even know you guys before a year ago. Trust me, I am not attached to this whole theater thing to want to kill anyone over it.
I would never!
If we skip forward just a bit, I think Clark's death tells us all we need to know about Regina's innocence. I mean, we all know she's a terrible actor. So her distress at finding Clark dead was genuine. It couldn't have been her. But I digress. Let's return to earlier tonight. Violet, okay, that one's a little bit harder. Obviously, it was none of us in the attic. That's much too small a window. I mean, cutting the lights, getting downstairs, shooting Violet, and getting back up before the lights came on, that's not feasible. So, obviously, it had to be someone closer by. Valerie, in this case, is the obvious subject. I mean, she was the only one here who was in the room with Violet, meaning she was the only one with the ability to shoot her, and none of the others left their groups. Unless, of course, someone did leave their group and I'm missing something, in which case...
Artemis, really? It was you? You did all of this? It was you? How could you?
That's right. I did.
Yes, I knew it.
You seem a little too pleased for someone who literally has a gun pointed at their head.
What? Yeah, right.
Everyone shut up. Okay? You want to know how could I? Oh, okay, well, I'll tell you, Miss Director's favorites. It all started last summer. I thought it was going to be my turn, finally, to play the female lead, right? After years wasting away, playing trifling roles like Jean Valjean and Tevye. Okay, who's that? I thought it was going to be my turn, right? I did everything right. Last summer, when I found a letter addressed to Aubrey in the trash can, right? It was from a Broadway producer. She was going to leave us. So I thought I would give the letter to Miss K. You know how she feels about loyalty. She would have been kicked out of here so fast. So I gave the letter to Emma, knowing she'd give it to Miss K, who would have been so offended she would have forced Aubrey to leave the theater immediately. Well, you know how Miss K feels about loyalty. But the next night, there was Aubrey preparing to go on. Emma never gave Miss K that letter. I knew I would have to do something more. It was common knowledge that Violet had been after Aubrey's part since casting. Sick, I suppose, of always being overlooked in favor of the prettier actress. I could relate. Well, I thought I could use this little rivalry to my advantage. And I gave Violet what we both wanted most, a way to get Aubrey off the stage. I went into Violet's dressing room that night, complaining of a cold, and how the only thing that I could rely on to put me to sleep was a bottle of extra strength NyQuil. I told her I would lend her my bottle if she wanted to maybe get a little more sleep that night, to get rid of the atrocious bags under her eyes. But I warned her not to take more than a tablespoon anymore, and she might accidentally sleep through the entire show. Well, behold the power of suggestion. Violet spiked Aubrey's tea, ensuring she would be out cold, and took her place on the stage that night. Now, I let Violet have her moment on stage because I knew she would never work in our theater company again after what happened next. While she was on stage, I asked Blair to grab me a powder puff out of Violet's bag where I had planted the empty NyQuil bottle. She brought it out to me in a panic, realizing what Violet had done and leaving me totally blameless. I told her, to go to Miss K at once. And by the end of the day, Violet would be out, leaving the only person who could possibly play the female lead standing right there in front of her. Me. It was me. Okay.
Or Miss K could have given it to me instead of you!
I'm sorry, dear, but there was never a chance of that.
But who's to say she wouldn't just give the female lead to Blair over you, like tonight? You always play the male lead. That's your niche.
Aha! But soon Miss K would see that after all this time, there was another who could fill that niche of male lead. You see, I wasn't done. That night, after everyone left, I had planned to go to Miss K directly and expose Clark for who he truly was. A Davenport. Yeah, a world-famous theater legacy.
What?
Once I showed her who his family was, Miss K would be sure to cast Clark as the next male lead, and me, his leading lady. But before I could, you know what happened. Emma had her little accident, and the show closed early, and I lost any hope that my plan would come to fruition.
So you poisoned Blair, shot Violet, all so you could play the female lead?
Yes, I'm getting to that. I so rarely get to monologue. Just let me have this. Just when I thought my career in the theater was over, I got the invitation for tonight's little soiree. Everyone who was in my way would be back together in the same place at the same time. And there was a script to prompt it all. It was too perfect. So I poisoned Blair.
That's why you were on the floor after the first blackout. You were running back from the kitchen and you didn't make it before the lights came on again.
Catching up, are we? And yeah, Winston, you're right. I ditched you when we all split up. And I shot Violet. And Aubrey, I knew I wouldn't have to worry about because she wanted to leave anyway, right? As soon as she could get out of that contract with Miss K. There was no one left in my way. Finally, it would be my turn. Finally, it would be my name on the marquee starring Artemis Napier. I would be recognized for my talents. And I would never have to wear this stupid fake beard ever again. Sure, we would have mourned their deaths for a little bit, but we would get over it, right? We got over Emma in what, like 4 days? And then everyone got on with their lives. Guys, this is our opportunity. We have a chance again to do something great. What is Miss K always saying? The show must go on!
Okay, this still leaves a lot that needs to be cleared up. I, for one, am still very confused.
Me too.
Okay, so you killed 2 people.
That's right.
What about the rest? What about the script? What about Emma? Who killed her?
I don't actually know.
This wasn't how it was supposed to go. No one else was supposed to die, and Miss K was supposed to be here, and there wasn't supposed to be a B plot. Thanks for that one, Artemis. 2 killers is super confusing. You all were just supposed to read the script and see that the director is evil. She manipulates us into doing her bidding. You were supposed to blame her for killing Emma, just like the script says.
But why would Miss K write a script proving her guilt? She may not be the sharpest tool in the shed, but even that's a level of stupidity I wouldn't expect from her.
But directors don't write scripts, do they? Playwrights do.
So, the one you were working with, the one who was in the house this whole time.
He found me last summer, at the start of the last show. I was sick to death of feeling like none of you cared about me. Sick to death of feeling like Miss K's personal punching bag. Emma's too. So, since then, he's been guiding me. He has scripted my path, and it was my job to execute it. Every scene, every line, every moment, I was to carry out exactly as planned. First, I was to murder Emma and plant the evidence to pin it all on Miss K. I spent weeks of rehearsals plotting my move. I knew she and Miss K were always the last to leave the theater, so I waited until Emma was on stage resetting the last of the spike tape when I cut the lights. In her confusion, she wandered around the stage until she fell straight through the trap door, which I had left open, down to the basement where Miss K spent her evenings reviewing her notes. Miss K would have found her, would have had to be the one to call the police, and would have had to explain why she was the only one there, the only suspect, but she wasn't there, so it was ruled an accident, and no one looked into it. The show closed the next day, and you all went your separate ways, so I had to find a way to get us all together again. Which brings us to tonight. I wrote those invitations that brought you all here, not Miss K. I was to bring you all together again to perform one last play. The playwright rewrote the story of that night that you were to perform tonight, all playing your parts, but this time, you would have seen what he wanted you to see all along. That the director was guilty of murder.
But you did it. You literally just...
Yeah, but he wanted everyone to think she did. But you had to go and improvise and carry out your own plot. Oh, the playwright. Oh, no. He did not like that at all.
Yeah, he wouldn't.
It wasn't supposed to be like this. He promised Emma would be the only one to die, not any of you. I was supposed to make this happen. I tried to follow the plan, but I
failed miserably.
The playwright.
Oh, goody.
You gave it your best go, eh? But it clearly wasn't good enough. It's why you'll never be more than an assistant stage manager.
But I got them all here. I gave them the scripts. I put the pieces in place. They messed it all up.
I gave you a simple task to plan the perfect murder, pin it on the director, and put that ungrateful woman behind bars. I took you in, you remember, when nobody was kind to you, When people pushed you around, demanded things of you, I took care of you. I was kind. And now, you have failed me. But then, of course, I suppose I hardly made it fair, didn't I? Orchestrating all of these murders, it's no simple thing. If anything, I should be lauded as the greatest mystery writer of all time.
No one's gonna laud you, Dad.
Oh, you're kidding.
This is overdramatic, even by my standards.
Well, dearest daughter, I can certainly say the same for you, now can't I? 3 more people are dead tonight than need to be. And why is that? It's because you were sloppy. You just couldn't get a handle on things once that Violet girl was dead. So that's why I had to step in.
Wait. What? You were working with her the whole time too?
But of course, every parent wants to see their child succeed. I quite agreed with Artemis. She deserved a lead for once in her life. It was supposed to happen last summer. So when it didn't, I put other plans into motion.
Doesn't it seem kind of counterintuitive to conspire to frame Miss K for murder if you wanted her to give the part to Artemis?
Yeah, and also, why would you kill Clark if you wanted her to play the leading lady? You took out the only one who could have replaced her as the male lead.
Because he's sociopathic? You know, I'm wondering all of this too, Dad. You're the one who planned all of this. What was your end game?
I killed that Davenport boy to teach Artemis a lesson. She was mucking things up, and I thought that she needed a reminder that I could make life easy for her, just as I could make it difficult. And Kenny and Raquel, whatever her name was, those two, I'll admit, were genuine accidents. They saw me when I was in the cellar, and of course, I couldn't let them leave after that. But I suppose it served the overall goal of making this as much of a mess for that dreadful Miss K as I could. But a fat load of good that did me in the end. Evelyn was so utterly incompetent that none of it even mattered. 5 people are dead, and Miss K never even showed up. Where is Miss K, Evelyn? Did you even remember to send her an invitation?
Actually, she did.
Miss K?
Miss K?
Yes, it is me. I've arrived once again to save the show.
You mean to steal it?
Oh, honestly, Eugene, I never have any idea what you're talking about. Evelyn, could you get a tea for my throat, please? Parched. Sorry I'm late. This traffic from the city was terrible. Nightmare. There are vibes in here. I'm very sensitive to vibes. What did I miss?
I don't work for you anymore.
That's right. She works for me now. I've hired her to take you down.
Take me down. Because...
We were supposed to do this together. I write the shows and you direct. That was the deal. Since we were roommates at college, that's always what we were going to do. We were partners. We were in this together. But you couldn't stand to share the spotlight, could you, Marissa? You couldn't stand that my scripts were getting accolades while your spiritless directing was getting overlooked time and time again.
Spiritless. I would hardly call it spiritless.
You thought you could get rid of me, didn't you? You thought you could just erase my name, so it's no longer directed by, but written and directed by Marissa Knowles. And it worked, didn't it? The people forgot about me. Your paltry cast and crew here don't even recognize the true author of their latest show, because you took all of the credit. And then to add insult to injury. My darling Artemis, the light of my life.
I literally hate you.
Wearing fake beards every show. But I wasn't going to sit idly by. I went to the theater to look for you last summer. I was going to demand that you put my name back in the program and give me the credit that I deserved for my show. But you weren't there, were you? Where were you, Marissa? Go ahead, ask her. Ask her where she was when she was supposed to be directing your show.
Miss K?
Well, I didn't even think that they would want me. A small-time community theater director. But it was Broadway. They had an opening backstage. It was an opportunity. I had.
And what was the opening?
Oh, no,
No, tell them, or I will.
It was for an assistant stage manager position.
So that's where you were. You know, I wanted to find you. I wanted to leave too. You know, they offered me understudy for the second female supporting role. Yeah. But I couldn't find you, and then Violet drugged me.
You abandoned that show. You abandoned your cast, your crew. You left, your show closed, and everyone lost their jobs. You left Emma to cover for you, and look what's happened. She's dead now, because you let everyone down.
I did. I left them. I let them down. I just thought...
I cannot believe you! Oh my god, this whole time I've been defending you, never getting the credit I deserve for all the work I do here, and this... Fine. It's fine. I'm over it. Look, what Miss K did was wrong. She lied to us, to everyone. But she didn't kill Emma. You did. Or you orchestrated it, Evelyn did it, whatever. And she didn't kill those two girls either. Artemis, you did.
What?
I'll fill you in on that later.
Well, I think that's enough of that. Did you get what you needed, Detective Haute Court?
Detective? You mean the mustache was fake? Oh, just as I thought.
But they all just confessed, like, unprompted. You didn't do anything.
6 people died.
But who was recording this whole thing? It's dead. No worries. My boys have the house surrounded. They'll be in to arrest the guilty parties any moment.
Pardon me, but did you say 6 people? By my count, there were only 5 deaths tonight, that is.
Yeah, I didn't kill Flannery, and it sounds like neither did Evelyn. I assumed you did, Dad.
And scene. Gosh, I really connected with that performance. I think it's one of my best characters yet. Totally believable, right?
Read the room, Flan. So not the time.
Well, I think that was quite enough excitement for one night. Detective, I'll leave you to sort all this out. Okay. Blair, you better come with me. You have a lot of explaining to do. Okay. All right. Toodles, everyone. Or toodles.
Look, I don't care what you do to me, but just make sure I don't have to share a cell with him.
So the play really is the thing, isn't it?
What?
Hamlet!
Flannery, darling, nobody ever knows what you're talking about. And anyways, I think that I'm going to be burnt out on theater for a little while after all. So best to keep those obscure Shakespeare references to a minimum. Anyways, I'm starving, and we were never served dinner at this dinner party. So, anyone care to celebrate our survival with some veggie wraps?
Oh, maybe some food will cheer me up. Good idea, Aubrey. Let's... Guys? Oh, come on!
And that's a wrap, I think. Sorry.